Namaskar. Good afternoon. A warm welcome to all of you. And I can see, I got here in October, so I can see that the weather is moving into a very warm welcome to all of you. The American Center in association with Aspen, India is proud to present the second edition of Our Voice, Our Journey, which was launched last year by our former Consul General, Beth Payne, for those of you who remember her. The program touched many lives, and we wanted the journey to continue as we listened to the voices of some of Calcutta's most accomplished women. And I think that there are quite a few, actually, so this just represents one sliver of what we could get on stage. But today's program brings together the voices of women across different generations. This means different walks of life, different work, different professions, and celebrates the unique energy and diversity of each woman. These women are leaders that have changed the world around them, women who have traveled the extra mile, and women who have fought for their beliefs. I would like to, of course, quote one woman who's very important in my life right now, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. If half the world's population, meaning women, remains vulnerable to economic, political, legal, and social marginalization, our hope of advancing democracy and prosperity is in serious jeopardy. The United States must be an unequivocal and unwavering voice in support of women's rights in every country, on every continent. And that, in part, is why we're here today, not just as the U.S. Putting its voice forward, but hand in hand with India, who also would like to put its voice forward as far as women and women's rights and women empowerment are concerned. We'll begin today's program with a short documentary film which pays tribute to women of courage in the state of Manipur, many of you know, in northeast India. The film was directed by National Award winner Pragya Tripathi. Pragya won the hearts of the Lincoln Room audience last year, for those of you who are here, for sharing her journey. She can't be with us today as she is in the United States on the International Visitors Leadership Program, continuing her journey. After the film, Jane Thompson will moderate today's discussion. So without further ado, I would like to thank you again for coming today. I'm sure that you will enjoy today's program as I will. And may we present Manipur cocktails.
And we're eager to hear the journeys of our amazing panelists today. So without much ado, we're going to request our panelists to be seated on the dais, and we're going to request Mrs. Thompson, Jane Thompson, to moderate the session. And while you do that, I'll just say a couple of words about Jane, and then I'll hand over the mic to her and let her moderate this evening. Jane, apart from being a wonderful, warm person, someone who I enjoyed meeting one of the first days that she got, the first week that she got into Kolkata, is an early intervention specialist with over 20 years of experience of working with families and children with special needs. In the United States, she worked with the Montgomery County Public Schools in infant and toddler programs, and went on to the preschool education program and with adult education as well. While she was abroad, she had the opportunity to work with various American and international schools, and we really appreciate, because that really gives her such a wide global perspective, and we appreciate her sharing some of her experiences and her journey with us as well, apart from moderating the session. Jane is also the wife of the U.S. Consul General Dean. Dean, thank you for being with us. And now is in Kolkata and is a mother of a son and 2 daughters. So I'm going to hand this over to Jane and request her to moderate this evening. Thank you, Jane.
Thank you so much, and thank you all for being here. I'm thrilled that I look out over this room and see so many that have made it a point to attend today. And thank you to Rita and Shohini for all the work they've done to put all this together. It's hours and hours of effort, and we really appreciate all that you've done to get us all here today. Women have many, many roles, don't we? Some are very, very visible. Some are quieter, but no less vital. For some of you that are here, it was a huge accomplishment just to get here with all the list of things that you had from this morning until this evening. And this is probably still just a stopping point. Even though it's towards the end of the day, you have a lot more to do once you get home. And whoever we are, whatever our roles are, our families are never far from our hearts. And I can look out over this audience and know that some of you are thinking, I wonder if my son is studying like he's supposed to be. And others of you are wondering, did my dad take his noontime medicine? And I know that you're thinking that because my thoughts also keep wandering, and I'm wondering why my mother's emails keep bouncing back to me, because I know she's worried that she hasn't heard from me. And my heart's aching a little bit because my other daughter turned 17 today, and she's away at boarding school, so is without her mom and dad on her birthday. So I know all of you have those same thoughts because that's how we are. We have so many roles, and we're important to so many people. And I think if there's one fault that women have is that we often undervalue ourselves. And we undervalue the importance that we have to the people around us, whether they be to our students, our colleagues, our spouses, our children, our parents. And it's good for us to remember the roles that we have and how vital they are to others. We're the nurturers. We're the ones that keep the family ties close. I know I'm the one who makes sure that Christmas cards go out every year. And I'm the one that makes sure that even my husband's family's birthdays are remembered. We are often the peacemakers, aren't we? We do whatever we can to calm, soothe, ruffle feelings, and to make everybody happy. We are strong fighters for justice. We feel each other's pain, and we do whatever we can to soothe that pain. We feel that very deeply. And wise men around the world have found us to be very valuable partners and very effective leaders. Today, I'd like to join and offer our voice to those around the world who are fighting to ensure that our daughters grow up in a world where they are just as valued as our sons. And Jeff beat me to the punch and quoted some things from Hillary Clinton, but she's a woman that I admire very much. And I looked over her speech from a couple weeks ago at the International Women's Celebration Day in Washington. And this really hit home for me, and I think it's something that's very poignant for our discussion today, so I'd like to share it with you. She said, striving to ensure that every woman and girl will have the opportunity to live up to her own God-given potential isn't just the right thing to do. It's also the smart thing to do. Improving the lives of women improves the lives of their families, strengthens their communities, and creates opportunities for economic growth and prosperity. We know that investing in women's employment, health, and education levels leads to greater economic growth across a broad spectrum. It also leads to healthier children and a better educated population overall. We know that political systems that are open to full participation by women produce more effective institutions and are more representative in their government. In short, as Jeff quoted, if 50% of a population has no power, everybody's standard of living is diminished. I'm supposed to talk a little bit about my own personal journey as I think about my adult life, and I'm a trailing spouse. For any of you that are in here, you all know that if you belong to a family of nomads, the trailing spouse has by far the hardest job in the family. What we have to do in each move is adapt adjust and hone our skills to a new environment. But that also gives us wonderful opportunities to find new skills and to find new interests and reinvent ourselves just a little bit. As I thought about my own journey as a woman, I realized that one thing I have always done, no matter where I am in the world, is that it's important for me to speak for those without a voice. Whether that be for the very, very young, whether it be for the disabled, the unborn, or for the exploited population, it's always been really important to me to use my skills as an educator to make things more productive and to see that we continue to progress and move forward for those populations. My focus on early intervention has been one that has always been an incredible passion for me. From day one when I studied the research and realized the importance of helping children develop in the early years, to now, after a couple decades of working in that field, seeing for myself that if a child starts from day one with great attachments to caregivers, wonderful nutrition, wonderful nurturing, and the right stimulation, it changes the whole trajectory of that child's growth and that child's life. And so that's the pitch I want to make for early intervention. And I'd like to say that every society would do well to put their investment in early childhood, because there can't be a better payoff for you in the long term. Now I'm going to stop talking about me and move on to this wonderful panel. And I'm going to start with Professor Krishna Bose, who really needs no introduction, but I'm going to do one anyway. Need my notes so I don't forget. Professor Bose has been a member of Parliament in India. She served as chairperson of the Parliamentary Standing Committee of External Affairs, which oversees the conduct of India's foreign policy. She's also an eminent writer, educator, and parliamentarian. Her most recent book, titled An Outsider in Politics, was published in August 2008, and I might add, it's one of the ways I best got to know Professor Bose. She remains very active in public work. She's the president of the Trust of the Institute of Child Health, Calcutta chair of the Council of the Netaji Research Bureau, the president of Vivek Chetana, an NGO for disadvantaged women and children. We're so grateful for her presence today, and we look forward to gleaning wisdom from her decades of service.
I thank Aspen, India, and American Center for giving me this opportunity to be with you this afternoon. As I look around me and see my fellow candidates, Oroboma and Devasri, Moitri, and of course my very good friend Jane, I feel that I started my journey much earlier than you did. Well, I do not say that for today's woman the journey is very smooth. But it is true that you have many more openings. Your challenges are different. In our time, we had to cross many hurdles before we could cross the barrier of home and get out to the world outside. So let me say a few words on that. To begin with, education. In our time, the school leaving exam was called matriculation. So by the time the girls reached there, most of the girls were married off, about the age of 16 or so. And then came 2 years of intermediate studies. And the rest of them vanished from their educational system in those 2 years. IA, passed IA pass. That was quite a passport for a good marriage or something. So very few of us remained for the undergraduate studies, where we took up honors in different subjects, majoring, as you say, in different subjects. For me, I was lucky enough to have a father who was very forward-looking and who believed in what we used to call in those days, quote-unquote, liberal education. So he announced that no question of marriage until you are a graduate. So I stayed through that period, more or less smoothly. After that was quite all right. But then, postgraduate studies, when I got into my postgraduate in Calcutta University. This morning I was there because of their convocation, and those days came to my mind again. When I was going in for the postgraduate studies, a professor of that university, who was a good friend and a neighbor, came to my mother and said, "Don't send her to the university. Those girls go there who are, couldn't be married off as yet and all that. So, and your daughter is not, if not beautiful, not quite pretty. It's not." The Bengali word he used, I still remember, was put-pute. So I'm sure that she will have a good marriage. So I sent her there. But in all fairness to him, I must say that after some time he came back to my mother and said, after we were there, "What a bunch of very intelligent and lively students we have got this year." So, you see, opinions were changing, however, gradually. Attitudes were changing by the time we had reached there. Now, after education, we have to talk about career. What shall we do after that? Now, I decided I was looking for a job, and I got the job of a lecturer in a women's college in Calcutta. But when I got the job, the kind of things that happened around me, I was quite surprised, because my relatives, friends, all of them thought that it was something quite revolutionary. We will laugh today when I say that. But first I have taken a job of a lecturer in a college. And why did they think so? Again the question came up, why should she go for a job? Well, she is an only child of my parents, and to make things more difficult for me, I had also just got engaged to my husband. So she's going to get married soon, and both sides, if not rich, they're more or less well-off middle-class families. As if you do not have economic needs, there is no point for a woman going for a job. The question of having a space of yourself or an identity for yourself did not arise at all. And as a matter of fact, my mother panicked and came to me and said, "You put in your papers, resign from your job, because what will the in-laws say?" And I have heard that the family is quite conservative family of Calcutta, so you better get out of the job as soon as possible. Well, I didn't, but she was not very wrong. When I got married, my sister-in-law, who was my husband's elder brother's wife, she told me that had you been married a few years earlier into the family, you would be able to do your job. You had to remain at home. And she said that she used to make pan, bitter leaf. And our household was a political household with many people coming in. So he said, she told me that she had to make 300 pounds a day. And she was good looking, and she was quite conscious about her looks, and she said, my fingers got tainted. No, I was frightened myself. I told my mother, "Well, Ma, I don't even know how to make 1 pound. What should be of 300 pounds? But my mother was very calm and said, "Well, if somebody showed you how to do it, I'm sure you would have been able to make it. So don't be tense about something which really had not happened to you. Now, in the meantime, my career was going up. I became head of the department and ended up as the principal of the college. And when I was the principal of the college, that was a very interesting experience for me. Because by the time I got into that administrative job, higher education in my state was highly politicized. So I got into this when I found the two important main political parties fighting with each other in the college, well, for union elections or whatever. And soon the party in power, of course, pushed out the party who was in opposition. I heaved a sigh of relief. Okay, having two was too much, at least one. But no, the party in power had allies. So the allies and the big party, they fought among themselves. And then the party in power, naturally the bigger party, threw out the small ally. Again, I thought it was now good for me. But it was not. Even the party in power had their own inter-party rivalries when anyway, I had to resign to my fate that there will be problems at the time of admission of students or election to the union, and I would be get out along with my colleagues. That would be part of the job. And I couldn't do anything about it. I had to settle down to that. One interesting story which might interest you. One day, I had taken a day's leave and didn't go to college. But I had an emergency telephone call asking me to come immediately. There was a great problem in the college. Now, what was the problem? The then Congress leader, Subrata Mukherjee, and the then young youth leader, Mamata Banerjee, belonging to the same party, they had arrived, they had got into the premises, and they were giving speeches, and disturbing the classes that was going on. They were in the garden in the lawn and giving speeches. So I had to jump into a cab and rush to my college, and I faced them. So I said that this is not acceptable. Classes are going on and you are disturbing our teaching, so please leave at once. Anyway, so they left. Maybe they had done whatever they had wanted to do before they left quietly. Subrata went straight to the assembly. The assembly was on at that time, and he met my husband, who was a fellow legislator at that time in the assembly, and complained to him. Shishita, we went to Krishnaji's college, and she just said, get out. So I am here today. So, the college administration, I must say, taught me a lot. And now, after college, I found myself in Parliament. I'm saying I found myself in Parliament because it was quite accidental. Just when I was thinking that I will settle down to my other writing assignments, etc., I found that I was in Parliament already. Now, when that was also a great experience for me, I must say. First of all, the campaign, which was very tough, because the constituency where I was fighting happened to be loyal more to the other side than to us, and it was a very tough fight. You know, 7 segments make one parliamentary seat, and one of the segments from where our then Chief Minister used to come had never, from there no non-communist had ever become victorious. Anyway, so the campaign was first of all something that I learned a lot from. But what was more, during the campaign and later on also, as as a person looking after, as a representative of the people, I saw the utter helplessness of people generally and women in particular. There was great poverty, lack of education, lack of health facilities, lack of even potable water. There was no drinking water even. Now, it is not that I did not know about this. I was a public person, I was in many other organizations, and I did know. But you know, when you go near it, it sort of hits you. And it was enormous problem that I saw, particularly for the women. And whatever the journey I am speaking of, whatever hurdles we had to cross, I could see there were many people who had a life much worse than ours. So in Parliament, we decided that one way out would be to have more voices of women there. And we were very few. We wanted more women to come into the legislatures, particularly to the Parliament where the destiny of the nation is decided. And we started a struggle for more women in Parliament, in other legislatures, as well as state legislatures. That struggle is still going on. And I'm sad to say not much progress has been made in that. We have, miles to go yet. But that was one thing I thought, that if women have a voice in the policy-making bodies, maybe something could be done for them. And that struggle is going on. It is a tough struggle, and I know because in '96 it was my first utterance in Parliament in 1996. Today is 2012, and we have not made much progress at all. Anyway, you wanted to know about my life. So, what am I doing now? I may be a symbol of my generation who were there. Well, I must say I'm still very, very busy, and with so many organizations working in so many fields. I'm the president of a historical institute, I'm the president of a children's hospital, I'm the president of a cancer fighting society, I'm the president of a depressed women's organization, and even I'm the president, very recently, of an archaeological center. So, the joke in my family now, as we sit down for dinner, my sons always tease me that, mother, the only thing you are not is that you are not the president of India.
Thank you so much. Not President of India, yes. All right, thank you for those wonderful words. We'll keep moving so that we get through our panelists, and then we want to give you all time to ask questions as well. Our next panelist is Anupama Arya. Anupama is a serial entrepreneur, investor, business executive, technologist, and mentor. She is currently managing director of the Hatch Fund and co-founder of Angel Investors Consortium. As an entrepreneur, she founded and led 3 companies in India and in the Silicon Valley. She's an Aspen Fellow under the Indian Leadership Initiative. Anupama has been the recipient of numerous awards, including the Award for Excellence Woman Entrepreneur from the Ministry of Information Technology. And she was also selected for the U.S. Government International Visitors Leadership Program. She's an international speaker and has been featured on CNBC Young Turks program. Please join me in welcoming this incredible woman to our panel.
Thank you, Aspen, for organizing this. And Jane, the board, Gayatri, Devashri, wonderful to be here with all of you. And with all of you. I must say, what can I share? Let me rewind to a point where when I was graduating, and there were two options. You either became a doctor or you became an engineer, and if you were a girl, you then chose to become a doctor. That was sort of the norm. It was decided. And I remember I started with true dedication with my study in medicine, and I gave a year to that. And I realized that I was more interested in engineering, and maybe that would be more my cup of tea. And I switched. But it was hard to convince everyone. And the idea was that, well, you can't waste a year. You've already done something in medicine, so how do you do this without wasting a year? So I took two exams, medicine and maths at the same time. Luckily, maths was not too bad, and I was allowed to switch to engineering, and that's how my engineering career started. When we went to engineering college, mostly 5 to 10% of the class was engineers, was women. The rest was all guys. And I remember our first year in the machine shop, we were given this piece of iron and we had to take a hammer and flatten it out and show it some exercise, I don't know what it was. And there were 4 of us in the machine class, and we were all trying our level best to get the hammer and the piece of iron somehow make contact with each other. And so at the end of it, we had a somewhat flattened piece, I don't know. We were probably given grace marks, and we cleared that part of it. But it's heartening to go to the same campus today and see 50% women students. So times have really changed, and it's really been a positive change in India in our field as well. My first job, I think the expectation was so low that sometimes you think that you did well just because of that. Almost everyone it's all in the onset. Nobody comes and says you're not doing well. But the idea is that, well, do you really know your subject? Are you going to break into a pool of tears just because you don't know the answer? Is it that you will really be able to deliver on the project or not? Or should there be 2 senior male colleagues also assigned to you so that you somehow come through and nobody wants to deal with a woman engineer on board the project who's too emotional, and so what can the male boss do? So it was really interesting, the working environment again in India for engineers and otherwise, just because the ratio is changing of women entering the workforce. It's so much easier today than it was before. Post doing a little bit of work in engineering here, I got a scholarship and I got the chance to go abroad. And it was much more different in the US and the Silicon Valley, I must say, because just the sheer number of women in technology was so much more. So it wasn't as lonely a journey, and you could really meet and talk to many women scientists, and so you had role models. It was easier in that sense. I stepped out of the engineering ladder to start my first company in the Silicon Valley. And that was a period of struggle, mainly because the struggle was internal. Nobody was really doubting per se that you can, and of course you have your set of advisors and your parents say, why are you giving up something which is paying so well and taking up a risky profession. But really the struggle was internal, because on the one hand, I had gotten to a point where I was enjoying the fact that I was financially independent. It had taken a while to get there. At the same time, you want to be your own boss, so you want to try your hand at running your own business and see what is it that you can create out of it. So it was an internal tug of war between two very, very important things. Have your own money and hence your independence, or try something new and explore a new avenue of leadership, not knowing whether you can do it or not. So it was a challenge in that sense, and I did quit, and it's hard to give up a business card. It was with Lucent, and so it was well known, and suddenly you are in a company which is your own, but nobody really knows about it, so you have to start from scratch to share what you are going to do. And that is a very, even in a country like US, it can be very different, because then begins the journey of belief, because everybody will doubt the viability of your business. From the financer who's going to put money in it, to the first customer who doesn't know who you are and what you're going to do, to your colleagues who also may not believe initially whether you will really come through and deliver on your first set of commitments to make your payroll happen and revenue come through. So I would say that the first few years were really tough to prove again and again. So you almost felt like when you went to give a pitch, you were not really starting from zero, but you're starting from -10 or -50, and overcome all those doubts that will be there in the other person's mind. I got lucky, and I think the first two companies did very well. And my third company I did in India, I had to come back because of my husband being the only child, and my mother-in-law was not keeping very well, so we moved to take care of her. And I would say that through that time, from the first two companies, a lot of things you walk the talk, but you really don't always believe it. You just go ahead, go out there, and you say the things you're supposed to say, and sometimes you take the decisions, but the journey to really growing into the position takes time. So there would always be some bit of a doubt about whether you should have really said no to a business contract or not, should you have walked away from the deal, whether the decision you're taking about an employee is the right one, will it affect his family also. So sometimes, during all that, the question comes up, was it easier to be protected and be the second in command or the third in command? And are you ready for being the front runner, the front person sitting in the boat? You get to see a lot more in life up front, which you may not have had to see before, and hence decide about it. So hence make a call on whether you are going to take it or whether you are going to fight it, and whether your belief system ultimately is the one that's going to win. So the getting to the point of leadership and getting to the point of believing in your own leadership style took a while to happen. Whenever I've talked with other women leaders, I always feel that the women leaders underestimate their power. They always undercut and say, well, it was really luck. It was really some other circumstances. Or they would come out as really harsh and say that it was really tough getting to this point, so hence we really need to get whatever we can get. So there are two aspects to it. And I think I was fortunate. I made peace with the fact that you really don't have to be an aggressive, Attila person to make a difference. I think you can be comfortable in your skin and be yourself and yet achieve whatever it is that you want to. And even though other people may wish that you wear a different skin and a different style or a different way of dealing with things because you're not proved it quite as yet. But I think somewhere the decision is internal. The decision has to be made from within. Yes, it's hard if you have to go to different trade bodies and meetings and there are very few women there, or if you have to say how do you go from doubling and tripling your revenue, where are the other people who've done it, and can you talk to them face to face and really figure out what are the decisions they made to get to that point. But still, I would say that the really encouraging and the really optimistic part is when you talk to younger women who are in their 20s and their 30s, whether they are the ones who are the young entrepreneurs or the ones who are working in your company, they are the ones who are redefining what it is to be a woman, both in professional and in personal life, how to take on that battle, because they don't want to just have be a second breadwinner. They want to leave a legacy, a personal legacy, a professional legacy, and they are showing that in the way they live.
Our next panelist is Debashri Chatterjee. Debashri made history as the first woman appointed to charge of a police station in the 154-year-old history of the Calcutta Police Department. She was posted as the officer in charge of immoral trafficking section of the police's detective departments. In November of 2010, she was appointed as the officer in charge of the Northport Police Station under Port Division. Under her leadership, the immoral trafficking section has handled many important cases. Debashri is known for her never-say-die attitude, and she's presently posted as the officer in charge of Terratola's police station. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us today, Debashri, and I'll turn it to you.
I must thank Aspen India and American Center for organizing such a beautiful evening. First of all, I must admit my fellow speakers on stage and you all a very special person. And me, I'm very, very ordinary, and my journey, which I'll really keep in front of you as this tale, it is full of intervention, it is full of hurdles, it is a journey which every ordinary woman in India crosses. My journey really started after a decade of almost, if I follow Mrs. Krishna Bush. At our time, really, every of our friends, colleagues, they were studying high, they were studying with, big degrees, they were gaining good postings. So, any social hindrance was not there. But during when I was in the middle of my journey, I just completed my school. I lost my father, who was really a very big friend of mine. I should say friend of mine, and I really miss him. After my father's demise, I had my small brother, my mother who was not working, so I had to pull my family. So besides studying, I took up doing tuition classes, as all the other girls of my age used to do just for pocket saving. I did it for my subsistence. So I continued that for almost 4 years, and I got opportunity to get this service as an exempted category. That is, my father was in police, so I got the opportunity to enroll myself in police, but I had to sit for a competitive examination and I had to pass it. Well, I came first, and after that I went down in training, and there also I came first, and so in my batch I got the opportunity for my promotion and all other benefits to be secured in first, as I was first. So things rolled by like that, but within my heart I really wanted, first I wanted to be a doctor, although I didn't go for studies, but I always went for anatomy. Whenever I found a cockroach or a toad, I used to cut it open and see where the lungs or the kidneys are. But in fact, what I should have done, the studies, I missed it. So I couldn't be a doctor. And after that, I wanted to be so many things in my life. Until that, whenever I see somebody as an idol, somebody as a model woman in front of me, I really think that if I could be such a woman, but I couldn't be. You have to do your foundation well to really, if you are having a dream, you have to do your foundation well. But I missed there. I did my geography honors, and my schooling was from diocesan. After 33 years, I went for a reunion in my school, just a few days earlier, and I found all my senior students there, and they were dancing, they were singing a song, a very nostalgic song of Rabindranath Tagore, Bhulbi Kire Hai, Purano Shei Diner Katha, Bhulbi Kire Hai. They were all dancing and singing, and it was very nostalgic. So, and I found the senior students of 1963 batch, 1956 batch, they're also glamorous, they're doing, they are in important professions, they're doing so well, and they accepted me, they said that they're proud of me, and I really went very proud. And this is the journey I have done, I have made, and I have come in this position. But one thing I'm sure, that if I had not been a police, I could not have known the world. I know the world, I know the people, I know people from all ranges of life. May it be administrator, businessman, men, women, I don't differentiate between them. Children of all socio-economic status, of all kinds of cultural field. I come so close to them, and I come so close to them with the stories of pain, with their stories that they want to hide from other people. So I see them very close. And this kind of experience I could not have gathered if I was in any other profession, I think. And throughout the day, I have many faces. Sometimes I think in the morning, suppose when I was just thinking of the pages of Anandabajar, I thought that why I am police? Everybody condemns us. People condemn us. Media condemn us. Nobody ever appreciates us. Everybody condemns us. They don't know our story, the story behind. They don't know anything, but they condemn us. So why I am police? But every day, at the end of the day, I think, thank God that I am a police. I am a police, and in my journey, I have helped, and I could help so many people. I could not have done this if I was not a police. I saw a mother who has lost her son. I rescued dead body. I rescued trafficked woman victim. I pat a person who has lost somebody, or who is a victim of traffic accident, or whatever else, destitute, any problem, from the rickshawala, vanwala to everybody. So I see how the world is, actual world I see, and I'm very thankful to my Lord that really I am police, and I've made my journey here. And also I'm very thankful to all and everybody who at least understands the pathos in us, who understands that what police is. I do really pay a great respect to them, because we are the disciplined force. We can't tell what we are going through. That is the most painstaking part of our story. And in my journey, I am already 47 years now. So I have a family, I have a son, my husband is also in police. In my journey, I have seen so many things which really, since we cannot answer, we only gulp down things. Suppose my son is in a very reputed school. If he says a single bad words, teacher calls us. Teacher says, "You are police now. You must be talking all this nonsense in your home. That's why your children are talking these things." That means everybody thinks that police is always uttering bad languages, showing bad attitude, but really it is not. I think whenever a small child is lost, I just joined police. I saw in Bhavanipur, the small child was lost, and then assistant sub-inspector was there who has almost completed his duty hours, but he is so helpless. He is buying those laddus for that child, and one after another the child is gulping down the laddu and telling another one kaku, and the kaku couldn't go home. It was almost 12 cup was going on bringing laddu for her. So it is also a part of story. There is other part of the story too. But still, the thing is that my family cooperates me. My mother-in-law, my entire in-laws, they cooperate me. They understand the thing. And I think my journey will best be understood by the people. What should I say anyway? And thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Devashree. I'm sure that we could sit and listen to your stories all day, because I'm sure every day brings home another interesting story. Okay, we're gonna keep moving. We're really pleased today to have Moitri Trivedi Dasgupta with us. Moitri is a lawyer by profession. She's an active crusader for human rights and dignity. She presently practices at the Calcutta High Court. She was nominated for the International Visitors Leadership Program by the U.S. government and is sought after national and international speaker. She's presented her work at numerous conferences, including the Forum for Women's Law and Development and the Clinton School of Public Services. Moitri is a champion for many and is an active participant with a number of NGOs and is the founder of LEAP, the Legal Empowerment and Access Program. She's the recipient of the Achievement Award for Excellence in the Legal Profession from the FICCI FLO in 2009. We're so grateful that she's here with us today, and please join me in welcoming Moitri.
My regards to everybody here. Thank you, Mrs. Thompson. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Shogini, Ritushri, for allowing me to be part of the voice. I'll be just contributing my voice to our voice. I've spoken about my subject at various seminars. I've never spoken about myself. And let me be very honest, I don't know how to do this, but I've decided I'm going to do this. Before I speak about my life and my journey, I want to make something very clear. I can't speak about so much. There are certain very vital aspects of my life which I shall be holding back. I wish I could speak about them. I won't be able to. Several reasons. 3 I shall name. Firstly, I don't want to hurt others who are so inextricably linked to my journey, because in my trying to be honest with myself, I might end up hurting others, which I choose not to do. Secondly, I don't yet have the courage to confront my own biggest challenges, my deepest pains. So if I'm not in a position to confront them, I can't bring them before you. But they are the real challenges, I feel. And thirdly, I can't say everything because I'm not very sure how I will look after I've told you everything. My challenges first. I have very exceptional parents. My father, a renowned academician, administrator, married my mother, who was his research scholar, lecturer of a college, when he was 56 years old. My mother was 30 years his junior. I was born to my father when my father was 58 years old. My sister was born 4 years later. My father died when I was 20 years old, not yet 20. Till today, this very minute, I remember my father in everything. In happiness, much more in my deep pain. What did he teach me? Tolerance, patience, faith, unending optimism. I hold them very dearly. He did not treat me like a girl. He treated me as a princess, a prince, and owe it to him. I owe it to him. My mother, an exceptional woman, dignified, disciplined, dutiful, an eclectic combination of the conformist and the rebel. She holds a lien to the life of those who belong to her. She cherishes those who don't have a voice. My first challenge is centered around my father. My second challenge around my mother. My first challenge. Seeing me with my father, people used to ask me, is he your grandfather? Those who did not ask this question explicitly had that question in their eyes. Every time I confronted that question, I wanted to run away desperately. But I could not. There was no place to run. So very bravely, smilingly, I said yes. As if it was the most natural thing to have a father who looked like a grandfather. I had to protect my father because he was generally always there beside me when this question was being put to me. I had to protect him. I also had to protect myself, but that was very secondary. My father understood my internal warfare. He loved me. My mother, my second challenge. I've traveled with my mother through many sunlit terrains, sun-washed beaches, dark forests, bottomless pits, plateaus. One day I'm hoping that I shall be able to fly the blue skies together. I'm hoping. My second challenge, which still continues, is to be myself and also be hers. It's a painful evolution with which I'm grappling every day. My third challenge, to be able to come back to a normal life after my sister's death, my younger sister's death in 2006. It was an unnatural death. I don't want to go into any details. When she died, leaving her 4-year-old daughter behind, leaving a note that, Didi, I'm leaving her to you. She took my sanity away. Outward it was nothing, inside it was everything. And when that little child was again taken away from me, for various reasons, I can't say them, all that I have been praying for from 2006 to 2011 has been death. But I have survived. It is 2012 today. 2006 to 2011, strangely, has been a period of great professional success. And at the same time, unparalleled personal anguish, but I've survived it. It's 2012 today. How did I survive it? Work. Grueling work that I believed in. And another very important thing, caring for some who had even less than what I had. At this point of my time, I must say, a friend came into my life who had lost everything, who kept losing. I kept watching that friend and still believed life was beautiful and believed it, trust me, didn't say it but believed it. I kept watching. I kept observing. I couldn't believe somebody can believe life is beautiful in those circumstances. But I'm sure I observed well. Because today I'm not praying for death every day. I'm patient enough to wait for death when it will come to me. So all my other challenges, I'm a lawyer by profession. I face challenges every day where I'm bracing. I am pretty happy that I face challenges every day. But all the other challenges, when I compare them to these challenges, seem smaller. The strength that has come to me in dealing with the challenges that I just described serves me well. Success. I consider my success in being able to preserve all the relationships as far as I could, and I preserved them well. Every relationship is precious to me. My loving family, my friends, my loyal, dedicated legal team, my younger women, my interns, my staff, who have been with me for decades now. The overwhelming love and loyalty that has been bestowed upon me, it makes me just say thank you. Success or grace, I can't actually differentiate. When I take it, it's both. Another success that I would say is in certain manners I've been able to bring about certain changes without letting anybody know that those were changes that were being brought about. In that I've been able to eliminate some kind of a resistance because people didn't know I was bringing in change. They did not resist that change. Let me explain. I come from West Bengal. My entire family, women in the family, are emancipated women. They've all worked. My grandmothers were renowned professionals. My mother and aunts, and of course everybody in the family. 4 generations women have worked. I got married into a family, a North Indian traditional family full of lovely people, but traditional. There the women, working women, were not known. They were known, but they were not there in that family. Women were meant to be in the kitchen, look after everybody. They were cherished, yes, but they were supposed to be obedient. I don't want to use the word subservient, but sometimes it comes to my mind. Dress codes were strictly adhered to, heads were covered, eyes were lowered, and I've done all that. Not 1 day or 2 days, but years. But they were good people. That's something that I want to clarify. People may have different rules, but that does not make them any good or bad. However, I wanted to work. I wanted to practice law right from the very beginning. As I told you, my father had taught me many things. So the first time that my husband had proposed to me when we were at law school together, I had asked him only one question: will I be allowed to work? I knew the cultural differences. He had said yes. He had not thought for a moment what he was saying. He had stood by me in everything. But despite his standing by me, and despite I being pretty conscientious, it took me 9 years after marriage to start practicing law, only in the year 2005. Before that, on and off, when my household did not require me, I was doing my post-graduation. I was doing some amount of legal research for anybody who needed it. My father-in-law happens to be a lawyer too. I was just there. But I did not start my practice. Why I didn't do it? I did not want to unsettle my matrimonial family. I wanted to be the good bahu. Today, I live with all of them. My parents-in-law are proud of me. I think they are proud of me. I love them back very much. They have broadened their horizon. I'm traveling all over the place independently, working. My mother-in-law, by the way, sometimes I have plans till 1:30 at night at my residential chamber. She comes in, she tells me, have you had anything to eat? She comes and gives laddus to my clients and says, Beta, I'm going to sleep now. She's the last one who stays up. So, this change I think I could only bring about with patience. I've lost a lot of years. But well, sometimes I do regret it, I should be honest. But not always. Not always. What do I believe in? I believe in good intentions. Absolute good intentions. Honesty of purpose. The courage to stake it all if you believe it. Adaptability, simple living. I take up cases professionally, if I was asked to say. How has my life as a lawyer been? Great. Fantastic. I take up cases very selectively. I put in intensive work into it. I believe only then do I take. And the returns which have come to me through my professional work has been much more than I ever negotiated for. So that's one area from where I derive immense satisfaction. However, since we are talking about man-woman thing here, absolutely no offense meant to any of the men folk here. Nothing at all. I just have to share something. What happens is when I go into a courtroom, since I take selective work and I'm still not a known person, they just told me that I don't see you in court. That's because I don't take up so many cases. When I go into a courtroom, people don't know me. I have my young juniors with me. Some of them are women. Most of them are women, in fact. The first thing, and fortunately for me, I'm pitted against several very eminent lawyers in most of my cases. And teams of them, not one or two, but teams are placed against me. They don't know who I am. They generally think I'm the junior who's just walked in. So they are like asking me, who's your senior? I keep quiet initially. I don't say anything. I say, yeah, okay. Because obviously I can't say I'm the senior. I want to bustle them a little bit also. So what happens when the cases do start? They're like waiting for people to come in and nobody walks in after they finish their side, or if I'm supposed to speak first, I start speaking. They keep waiting for the senior to come in. Initially, what I feel about myself is they're so indulgent. Men are so indulgent. They give me the chair. Bosho, please sit. Okay, sit. Then they are wondering, am I the one they are fighting against? Then gradually the scenario changes from being indulgent. There is an anger that is built up. I've seen that too many times not to be able to say it. I'm sorry, men folk here. There's an anger. What? A junior girl, she's going to do it. When they see the judges gradually coming over to my side, the anger builds. When the verdict comes, reputations get flashed at. Oh yes, because she's okay to look at possibly. Oh, she's got her network. But after that, I have always felt there is a reckoning which is coming in now. And I'm feeling good about it. They'll say, oh yeah, she may not be so competent, but she's hardworking. Good. That's it. Let me be just known as a hardworking person. Oh, she doesn't take too many cases, so she's got so much time to study just one case. We've got so many cases to study. Good. By choice, I take that one case. So professionally, I am happy. And women, I am the middle group here. So one thing I need to say, I need to talk about my juniors, my law students, the interns. I have a lot of women juniors who are with me. Oh, they are doing superbly. The discipline that they bring to our profession, the way the hard work, the amount of hard work, the conscientiousness that they are putting in is so amazing. And I so agree with Anupama when she says, it's now the legacy that we are working for. We are working for a legacy now. Maybe the younger ones don't know what they are working for, but they're all working for that legacy now. What do I believe in? Okay, what do I believe in? I have very interesting, I shouldn't say interesting, but I have fascinating plans. Maybe because by choice I take a few, not so many cases. I'm selective. I have extraordinary plans whose extraordinary courage is something that keeps inspiring me. And one thing that my father taught me to believe in, I keep believing, and every day now, I just said 2012, I'm living again. I wanted to say this, I believe in fairy tale endings. Even the grimmest of human rights cases, that I'm handling, I believe in that happy fairy tale ending. And Ritoshri says, I must finish, but I'm going to finish with a song. I'm a lawyer, I shouldn't be singing, but I shall be. This is one song that my father reminds me of my father. This is what I live my life by. I don't know, it's a song by Abaji, and I'm sure all of you will know this. I believe in angels, something good in everything I see. I believe in angels, when I know the time is right for me. I cross the stream, please sing along. I have a dream, a fantasy, and my destination makes it worth the while, pushing through the darkness, still another mile. I believe in angels, something good in everything I see. I believe in angels, when I know the time is right for me. I cross the stream, I have a dream.
Thank you so much. I know that took a lot of courage for you to share with us, and we really appreciate you bearing your soul. And I think her voice is one that reminds us to be gentle with everyone we meet, because everybody's fighting a battle that we may not see on the outside. There is one more young woman I want to bring up today. And then we're going to open up so that we can get a couple questions in. Brinda Datsgupta, this accomplished young woman, is in her final year of postgraduate work as an English student at Jadavpur University. She's a freelance journalist and has written a variety of human interest stories on numerous topics such as art, cuisine, and cinema. Following an incident of street harassment, she and some friends started the Safe City campaign in association with the Telegraph Metro and with the support of the Calcutta Police. The campaign focuses on making the streets of Calcutta safer and more inclusive for women. Very recently, she was part of a U.S. Department of State-sponsored International Visitors Leadership Program on gender issues. Brinda, thank you for assuring us that the future is in very capable hands. And won't you join us? Would you like to say a couple things before we... Okay.
Thank you very much. I hope that I can be heard at the back. Well, thank you very much, Mrs. Thompson. To be quite honest with you, this is a little scary. I don't know which is preferable, an auditorium which is dark or an auditorium which is lit. An auditorium which is dark, I know that everybody sitting there can still see me, but an auditorium that is lit, everybody can see me and I can see you, so it makes it very overwhelming. It's a huge honor and a privilege to be sharing the dais today with such wonderful ladies. Madam Bose, Madam Arya, Madam Chatterjee, Madam Datsgupta, or whom I more affectionately call Moitri, as I've met her before. The truth is, when Shominidhi asked me to be a part of this, she asked me to be the voice of the future. And to be very honest with you, the immediate mental association I had was of a robot in a science fiction movie. You know, something like the Terminator, like a voice from the future. Anyway, sad joke out of the way, I'll go on. I don't mean to digress from what we've been talking about today, the issue of women's empowerment. It's an issue very close to my heart for two reasons. A, because I believe that no development can take place unless and until it includes women. And B, because through the 23 years of my life, I have had the good fortune to meet some very inspiring women who have shown me the potential that we as a gender have. I'd like to take a moment and introduce my own personal story. About a year and a half back, in September 2010, I was subjected to a rather nasty incident of street harassment. And it opened my eyes to the deplorable levels of street safety in the city. So my friends and I, we resolved to do something about it. We got together and thus was born the Safe City campaign, which we started in association with the Telegraph Metro and with the support of the Kolkata police. The Safe City campaign works on two levels. A, it tries to make the streets of the city safer and more inclusive for women. And B, we would like to encourage and empower women to speak out in cases where they've been harassed, molested, or even raped. Of course, no journey is smooth, and mine hasn't been without its share of challenges. A major challenge that we faced is getting women to speak up, because so often women want to keep quiet. And providing the appropriate support and the institutional help to women who need it, the counseling that they need to get over the physical and the emotional trauma. Another roadblock that we faced is changing attitudes and changing thoughts, because, and this is something that I'm sure everyone will agree with, in recent times we've had a tendency to blame the victim. What was she wearing? Where was she? Who was she with? What was she doing? Why was she in that place? So that's something that needs to change. And I see a lot of young students in the audience today, and a few years back I was also a student. We would like more young people to join our campaign, because obviously as a youth-oriented campaign it won't succeed unless we have more youth coming forward. So social media is definitely very important. You can get in touch with us via Facebook, and we would like you all to come forward and join us, and we welcome your ideas and your support. I'm very grateful to have had continuous support all throughout, from the Telegraph Metro, of course, the very dynamic team, Kolkata Police also, and of course the American Center, who have been throughout giving me wonderful opportunities and platforms. Last but definitely not the least, my mother, who is quite frankly the most amazing woman that I have had the opportunity to meet and to be with. She was the one who encouraged me to speak up about the incident in the first place. As I said, very often women don't want to speak up because A, they fear the loss of reputation, or B, that they think that they will not be taken seriously. When I spoke out, a lot of people came to me and said that I was really brave, but very frankly, keeping quiet was never an option, and I think it never should be. We should always stand up for what we believe is right. We never really know how much potential we have, and very often it lies latent and it lies undiscovered and hidden. So we need to enrich ourselves and to kind of explore our boundaries, push the horizon. Women's empowerment is an issue that spans horizons and spans generations and borders, and it's up to us to keep the ball rolling and the fire burning. I'd like to end by saying that empowerment, I think, is more a journey than a destination by itself. And it's important to always stand up for what we believe in and for what we feel is right. This is a city that is famous for its Durga Puja, and I believe this will be your first Puja in the city. So I hope that you will like it. And in fact, in worshipping Ma Durga, we are celebrating woman's strength, we are celebrating woman power, we are celebrating the spirit of the woman to stand up against evil. And choosing or not choosing to worship Ma Durga is a personal matter, but the Sri Shakti that she embodies, I think, is there in all of us. And I'll end with a quote by Anne Frank, whom I have always looked up to and whose words have always inspired me. Everyone has inside of her a piece of good news. The good news is that you don't know how great you can be, how much you can love, what you can accomplish, and what your potential is. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Durga, for those words. All right. We're past time for Q&A, but we want to give some opportunity for Q&A, and we've not wanted to cut any of these wonderful stories short. And so, what I'm going to ask is that when you ask a question, if you can just ask the one question, make it very direct, and we'll try to get as many of the voices up there as possible. And please, men, we would like to hear some male voices. And so you are also welcome to ask questions.
Good afternoon. Well, I clearly belong to the weaker sex today because we are totally outnumbered. But I think at a deeper level, it comes down to an issue of values that we respect in our society, whether we are men or women. And sometimes men do play roles like women do. They play the nurturing role very effectively. I know that I have done that in the case of my daughter's education. When a very important leading school that she was studying in decided not to take her for science, and she switched schools to a much lesser known school for that purpose. But I think I'd like to also congratulate all the panelists for creating some wonderful synergy and really authentic stories that touched us in our hearts. Thank you very much.
Does anyone have a question for any of these panelists? Yes.
Good evening. That's not a question, a small sharing. As a lecturer, I analyze Tagore's poems, and today the wonderful and lovely speeches of panelists remind us of Tagore's Shabula, where he reassured the anxieties, conflicts, defenses of the woman, but there transformed it beautifully.
Grace too. It's one of the greatest gifts that we have as human beings, and there's no question that gets us through much more than our successes.
Binda, could I ask you very shortly, what exactly are the things that you are doing, you mean your program, to make the roads safe?
We do a lot of self-defense workshops. We do a lot of self-defense workshops which aim at women being more empowered to fight back. We have also held, in last June or July, we held a Men Leader workshop, which is not just physical self-defense, but also being more emotionally and mentally aware of what to do in such situations. We hope to start the school workshops pretty soon to kind of reach out to school kids and teach them how to be equipped to deal with such stuff like this happening. And we have a lot of plans in the future which we kind of want to implement.
How do you let people know that you are running these workshops?
Through Facebook primarily, and through the Telegraph Metro, which also runs their listings.
In the back?
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Tanya. I would just like to say I really enjoyed your speeches. Thank you so much for being here. We truly did draw so much from everything you had to say. I have a question specifically for Mrs. Trivedi. I am a recent law graduate, and I am hoping to one day go down your path of taking up human rights law. And I was wondering if you had any specific advice for me. And I wanted to ask you what the obstacles you have seen throughout your human rights legal career to be, and how you have managed to overcome them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Believe in yourself. Make your own rules. Simple rules. Obstacles, resist temptation. Resist temptation. There will be several temptations in the profession. Fighting those temptations is very difficult. But I'm sure we'll all manage. You'll understand what those temptations are once you come to it.
All right, we have a question in the front here. Yeah.
I just wondered if you could tell us what some of the biggest challenges that you foresee in the trajectory of women's movement for modern day Kolkata.
In my working experience, I have seen that in Calcutta slums, everywhere there are big slums, and all the women in slums, they are giving birth of babies unregistered. Very few of them go to hospital. mostly the birth process that takes place in home, and most children are unregistered and gradually they are criminalized. Since they do not have any identity showing paper, they are very easily criminalized. So I think I will appeal our next generation, and we are with you, of course. We are not dead ones. We must all try. We must all try in the sense that we have maids working in our home. We must inquire with them that do you have babies? How many babies do you have? We must try to make them understand that if you have 2 babies, you can feed them well, you can educate them well. That is a part of the story. And next story is that if your daughter is going to give birth of babies, please see that she goes to hospital and gives birth. And while doing that, they will know that what kind of government provisions are for them. Government has made many provisions for the poor. Many policies are there, but poor people do not know those because those policies are written in English. They are in a very, illuminated book, in art papers they are published, but very few poor people can access those benefits, those things. So whatever we know, we must let them know, and now, especially after working with Northport Police Station and Taratola, I have seen so big slums and so many poor children without identity. It's really itching my head that we should go with this slogan that no more girl, no more child, unregistered child. And one more thing I would say, my name please? Brinda. So I have seen lot many roads in Calcutta are very poorly lit or almost has no electric light. So if there is no light, and if I know a very good karate, I will be just fighting with shadows. So we must first cry for light, at least good illumination in roads which we are walking in. Thank you.
That is something that we're actually working with the KMC on, kind of better lit areas. That is something that we've been with them on.
Okay, what words of wisdom? We have time for 1 or 2 very quick questions before we dismiss. We have a question in the front here?
Hello. This question is to Mrs. Devasri Chatterjee. As a cop, you are just, as a woman, you do not fit. Being a woman, you do not fit the concept of cop to Bengalis. Number 1. In the family, as you have told, in the society also, for whatever reason, Calcutta with all these movements, left movements, democratic movements, cops are not accepted. As you told your son, whenever he goes to school. And as a cop, the areas you are, which is in your charge, Taratola or Port, are not very docile areas. So, you as a woman, how do you practically take this challenge? Professionally and practically.
For me, when I worked in Northport Police Station or in Taratola, or previously I was attached to Hare Street Police Station, I worked with Park Street, Bhawanipur and so many. But one thing, see, I am very different. I am not like the woman, I should say, because I just spread my hand and I take any male member whom I like. I just take him like this. I pat him like this. This cannot be ever thought by any woman as my colleague, but I do that. When I was leaving Northport Police Station, my sweeper came just to salute me. He made a pranam and said, we were very happy with you. So I hugged him. And my fellow colleagues really couldn't take it. And whenever I used to go to slum, I really hugged the people, and the victims whom I have rescued many victims, many cross-border trafficked, many victims they are in the home. They rush to me, they just cling to my heart, and then they start weeping, and my tie gets wet. I think Madam TWC Madam is here. They also know that they love me like this, their mother, their sister. So I always hug people, and I see a physical contact is a very big thing. A physical contact, a big smile, a kind 2 or 3 words really make difference, and people everywhere become very friendly, and I have always worked with very friendly colleagues, teams, and the locals. Thank you.
We are out of time, and I'm sorry we didn't have more time for questions. I'm going to have Rita Shri come up and, oh, okay. Shahid is going to come up, but I want to say thank you to all of you who were here today. Thank you so much, each one of these wonderful panelists, for sharing your journey and your story with us. I can't tell you how much it means to us. And now I'll turn it over to Shahid.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you, all our panelists, and a big thank you to all of you for filling the Lincoln Room to capacity. We really were a little apprehensive because it was a weekday and a 4 to 6 program. But thanks for joining us. Thank you, Jeff and Dean, for joining in our voice. And we'll ask you to join for refreshments, and also request, because we have school children with us, if we can allow them, because they've come straight from school, to first line up for your refreshments, and the rest can follow. Thank you.